In 1989, the badge on this car meant almost nothing. Mercedes-Benz had history, BMW had sporting prestige, Jaguar had old-world character, Lexus had a new showroom, a strange name, and one chance to prove that Toyota understood luxury. The LS400 arrived with a 250-horsepower V8, a price of roughly $35,000, and refinement that made the established order look suddenly expensive. 2 years later, Lexus had become America's best-selling luxury import, ahead of both Mercedes-Benz and BMW. People remember the LS400 for reliability, but reliability was only the result. The real story is the obsession that created it, the service culture that sold it, and the reason a cheap example today can still punish a careless buyer. The story began in 1983 when Toyota chairman Eiji Toyoda challenged the company to create a luxury car capable of rivaling the best in the world. This was not a nicer crown with a different badge. Lexus says the launch LS400 shared no similarities with Toyota's previous vehicles. The project was called F1, meaning flagship 1, and it became a clean sheet exercise in what Toyota believed a luxury car should be. The scale was extraordinary. 60 designers, 1,400 engineers, 2,300 technicians, and approximately 450 prototypes. Toyota spent 6 years refining the car. The final exterior design was approved in 1987. In November 1988, F1 became LS400, luxury sedan, 4-liter V8. In January 1989, the public saw it in Detroit. Those dates make the process sound orderly. The engineering was anything but casual. Lexus created what it called an anti-aging program. The goal was that a car with 50,000 miles should not feel dramatically older than a new one. Engineers identified 96 areas that controlled long-term durability, then studied paint fading, plastics, rubber, corrosion, mechanical wear, noise, vibration, squeaks and rattles. That is why the LS400's reputation cannot be explained by one strong engine. Toyota tried to make the entire car age as a system. At the center was the new 1UZ-FE, a 4-liter dual overhead cam V8 driving the rear wheels through a 4-speed automatic. Toyota's original American release rated it at 250 horsepower. Period specifications list 260 pound-feet of torque. Those numbers were healthy, but they were not the LS400's headline. The headline was what the engine did not transmit into the cabin. Lexus attacked noise and vibration through the powertrain, body, aerodynamics, suspension, and manufacturing process. The first LS400 achieved a drag coefficient of 0.29, remarkable for a large sedan of its era. Underbody airflow, sealing, panel fit, and isolation all served the same target. Remove the small disturbances that remind you a machine is working. Even the production process carried that idea. Toyota said every LS400 would be tested at speeds up to 100 miles per hour on a factory track in Japan, then inspected and test-driven again in the United States before dealer delivery. The famous advertisement distilled all of that engineering into one image. Lexus balanced a pyramid of champagne glasses on the hood while the drivetrain accelerated. The glasses stayed composed. We will not reuse the copyrighted commercial here, but its message is worth understanding. Lexus was not selling aggression. It was selling control. Then came the price. The 1990 LS400 carried a base price of $35,350 in the United States. It was not cheap in ordinary car terms, but it undercut many established luxury rivals while offering a new V8, rear-wheel drive, extensive equipment, and a level of finish buyers did not expect from an unknown Japanese luxury badge. That forced an uncomfortable comparison. If luxury meant only heritage, Lexus could not win. If luxury meant quietness, precision, equipment, value, and the way a customer was treated, the new brand could compete immediately. More than 4,200 cars were sold in the first month, according to Lexus's historical account. The early LS400 also exposed how important service could be to a luxury brand. Lexus documented a campaign involving about 8,000 cars after concerns over wiring and an overheated brake light housing. Technicians collected, repaired, and returned the cars without charge, completing the response within 20 days. The NHTSA record identifies the 1990 stop lamp housing campaign and its higher temperature replacement material. The defect mattered, but so did the response. Lexus turned an early problem into proof that its customer promise was more than advertising. By 1991, Lexus had outsold both Mercedes-Benz and BMW to become the best-selling luxury import brand in the United States. That does not mean the LS400 destroyed German luxury. It means the Germans could no longer define the category alone. The LS400 changed the questions reviewers and buyers asked. How quiet is the cabin at speed? How consistent are the panel gaps? How much equipment is standard? How will the dealer respond when something goes wrong? Can a flagship be technically sophisticated without behaving like a temperamental exotic? The car's design was deliberately restrained. It did not need to look radical because the disruption was in the ownership proposition. The V8 became famous for longevity. The cabin became a symbol of isolation. The brand built its identity around precision and hospitality rather than racing victories or aristocratic history. And the LS400's influence spread beyond Lexus. Once buyers experienced that combination, every luxury manufacturer had to pay closer attention to quality consistency, warranty treatment, dealer experience, and long-term refinement. The first LS400 was not the final word in handling feel, styling, drama, or prestige. It did something more consequential. It changed the scorecard. Decades later, that reputation creates a new problem. An LS400 can look like the safest possible route into classic luxury. Sometimes it is. But a durable design and a maintained example are not the same thing. Every first-generation example is now more than 30 years old. Rubber hardens. Seals leak. Solder joints and capacitors age. Service histories disappear. Cars sit, get modified, or pass through owners who assume the Lexus badge makes maintenance optional. One 1990 example with 136,000 miles sold on Bring a Trailer in January 2026 for $13,450. That is one documented sale, not a market average, but it shows the split clearly. Exceptional early cars are becoming collectibles, while neglected examples can still appear deceptively inexpensive. Specialist buying guides repeatedly point to the same inspection areas. First, verify timing belt and water pump history with invoices, not memory. Check for oil leaks around the timing covers and valve covers, and inspect old coolant and vacuum hoses for age. Second, look carefully at the power steering system. On early LS400s, leakage from the pump or reservoir can reach the alternator mounted below it. A small hydraulic leak can become an electrical failure if it is ignored. Third, test every electrical function. Aging ECU capacitors can contribute to hard starting or rough running. Instrument needles, warning lights and displays can fail. Seat controls, climate control, the powered antenna, windows and steering column adjustment all deserve time during an inspection. Then drive the car properly. The automatic transmission should shift with the smoothness the LS400 was designed around. Listen for suspension knocks, wheel bearing noise and brake vibration. Check the boot floor for water, inspect the underside for corrosion, and remember that old luxury car trim can be harder to source than routine mechanical parts. The correct buying process is simple, even if the car is not. Specialist pre-purchase inspection, full diagnostic scan where possible, cold start, long test drive, underside inspection, recall check, and a maintenance reserve. Do not buy the legend. Buy the history. The Lexus LS400 is special because Toyota entered the luxury market without asking permission. It did not have a famous badge, so it built credibility from engineering. It did not have generations of customer loyalty, so it made service part of the product. It could not charge for heritage, so it delivered value that made heritage defend itself. The 1UZ-FE V8 deserves its reputation. The quiet cabin deserves the champagne glass imagery. The rapid rise of Lexus deserves its place in automotive history. But the greatest achievement was not that the LS400 copied a Mercedes-Benz S-Class successfully. It was that, after the LS400, copying the old formula was no longer enough. Buy a documented, inspected example, and it can still deliver the calm, deliberate character that made the car famous. Buy a neglected one because the internet called it indestructible, and a cheap luxury car can still become an expensive lesson. The LS400 changed luxury by making precision, reliability, value and service impossible to ignore. Was it the greatest luxury car reset of the modern era, or simply Toyota's most perfectly timed product? Tell us where you stand. Subscribe to Speed TV 21 for the engineering stories and buyer warnings behind the cars that changed the industry.